Joining us now, Jim Jordan of Ohio, Congressman, Freedom Caucus member, also caucus member Matt Gaetz. Matt, we'll start with you and this ethics filing today. And on substance, you're 1,000% correct.
Well, thank you so much, Sean. Adam Schiff is going to prepare a report that the American people cannot rely on. And Nancy Pelosi is giving this unprecedented amount of power to Adam Schiff, and he doesn't deserve it. The rules of conduct of the House of Representatives say that no member is allowed to act in a way that impugns the credibility of the House of Representatives. I cannot imagine something more damaging to the credibility of the House of Representatives than Adam Schiff, in an effort to overturn the will of the American people, reading a fake, false transcript to try to pollute the minds of the good folks in this country as to the conduct of our president. It is very clear from reading the transcript, from hearing what President Zelensky said in his own words, that President Trump did nothing improper. He put no unethical pressure on the Ukrainians or illegal pressure on the Ukrainians. He was doing his job to root out corruption that stemmed directly from the Obama-Biden administration and the Biden family. So I think that Adam Schiff should not be subject to a lower standard of ethical conduct than every other member of Congress, and I think the Ethics Committee should have to rule on this question, and I want Adam Schiff's unethical conduct in the minds of those 30-plus Democrats who represent districts that Donald Trump won. They go to the floor tomorrow and either vote to end this absurd process and start working on lowering prescription drug prices, passing the USMCA, getting an infrastructure bill, helping rebuild our vibrant economy, or are they going to continue the investigation and impeachment strategy that leaves the American people holding the bag?
And Jim Jordan, I thought you were fabulous in your comments, and the added comments, putting lipstick on a pig, were dead on accurate. But, you went into detail at this press conference yesterday about how, this compromised, corrupt coward who won't come on this program, known congenital liar, Schiff, you pointed out you never saw anything like this. Devin Nunes said the same thing. When you asked who he spoke to after important events in July, no, we're not going to let him answer that question. What is that?
No, I've not seen anything like this where you have a witness, he's under subpoena, it's Adam Schiff's witness, but only Adam Schiff gets his questions answered. When we ask this witness very important questions like, who did you speak to after these important events that took place in the month of July? And he was not allowed to answer those questions. And here's the bottom line. Adam Schiff is running this secret unfair process in the basement of the Capitol. He's preventing the witness from answering certain questions because there are four fundamental facts that have always been there and will not change. Matt said this. We have the call transcript, no quid pro quo whatsoever. We have the two individuals who were on the call, President Trump and President Zelensky, saying no pressure, no pushing, everything was fine. In fact, they're talking about draining the swamp in Ukraine like President Trump is draining the swamp here in Washington. And then we have the fact that Ukraine did not know at the time of the call that aid had even been held up. And finally, the most important fact, tell me what Ukraine did to get the aid turned back on. Tell me what they did. Did Zelensky do a press conference? Did he do a statement? Did he say, well, we're going to do certain investigation? None of that ever happened. And maybe most importantly, the one testimony we are allowed to talk about, Special Envoy Ambassador Volker, he told us in his deposition and his transcript, he told us, he confirmed those four fundamental facts. And because those facts will not change, have not changed, those four fundamental facts, Adam
go through these again slowly so everyone understands exactly what you're saying.
The transcript, we have it, as Matt said. You can read the transcript. Tell me what conditions were placed on there, what quid pro quo was there. There wasn't any. You have the two individuals who formed that transcript call, the two guys on the call, President Trump, President Zelensky. Both have said, no, there was no pressure, no pushing, no conditions whatsoever. At the time of the call, July 25th, the Ukrainians didn't even know aid had been withheld. And then finally, the fourth fact is they didn't do anything to turn the aid back on when it was turned back on on September 11th. So those facts are so fundamental to this idea. Because remember, when Pelosi and Schiff started this, they said this call transcript is going to show that there was this quid pro quo. That's how they were pitching this whole thing. And then the call comes out, and even some Democrat chairman said, well, there wasn't a quid pro quo on the call, but we got to keep looking. There are still problems. And that's what this is all about, stirring up whatever dust they can stir up, but there is nothing there.
Well, I mean, we know there's nothing there in the call. If anything, what I read in the transcript is clear. and that is the president is faithfully executing his sworn duty, constitutional oath, which is very obvious. I thought all these people were upset about foreign election interference in the 2016 election, but yet they ignored the dirty Clinton dossier. They had that little hypocrisy going on at the same time, and we also know that they ignored in all of this as it relates to Hunter Biden. How do you say it's a conspiracy theory when Joe Biden's on tape and Hunter Biden's on tape? And if this was the Trumps, that this would be the biggest story, and they probably have a case at that point. The hypocrisy is breathtaking to me, Matt.
Well, here.
Well, Sean, this is Matt. I would tell you there is not a single American, including Hunter Biden, who believes that Hunter Biden was hired for his merit. Even Hunter Biden admitted when he was interviewed that his last name likely had a great deal to do with why he was being engaged in this project. But you speak of hypocrisy. Democrats, while clutching their pearls, would have the American people believe that this is all about critical aid to our important ally, the Ukraine, and Donald Trump abused his power by blocking his aid. You know what, Sean? We got $250 million in aid to the Ukraine in the National Defense Authorization Act that Democrats won't bring up, won't negotiate, and won't send to the president because they're so focused on impeachment and investigation. This is the same Democratic Party that has issued more subpoenas than they have passed bills. And so the lack of sincerity, the hypocrisy is so thick you could cut it with a knife. If
we're beginning to see,
really
though,
cared,
it's so.
But that defense bill.
We got Tom Brokaw literally saying on the Roswell Rachel Maddow Area 51 Conspiracy Channel, MSDNC, we got Brokaw actually admitting they don't have the goods on President Trump in this impeachment push. That's a problem. Then you've got this one House Democrat, Jeff Van Drew, says, I imagine I'm not voting for this, he said. Obviously he's going to be impeached here. It'll go to the Senate. In the Senate, he's going to be vindicated, so we'll have the same president, the same candidate who's now been vindicated. And then he added, I'm not sure what everybody wants as a result here, and I also think we spent a lot of money and a lot of time and haven't been able to get a lot of things done. Now, it also goes on in the Fox News article to say from Oklahoma, you've got Democratic Representative Kendra Horn, and you got Joe Cunningham from South Carolina, and Anthony Brindisi from New York. They're beginning to say, what's going on? I've heard Jim Jordan behind the scenes. You've got about 30 Democrats saying this is a dumb idea. Are they going to get their arms twisted and go with this?
Well, remember, Sean, the reason you're seeing this from some of the Democrats is in less than 13 months, the American people are going to walk into that voting booth, and at the top of the ticket, they're going to punch the button in these districts these guys are from. They're going to punch the box and mark the box for Donald Trump. And the very next question down below is, who do you want representing you in Congress? And do you think that same person who just voted for Donald Trump is then going to turn around and vote for someone who moved to impeach the president we all elected? Again, just a few years ago in the election coming in third, that's the question that they're facing. And to this point that Matt just talked about, hypocrisy, here's the biggest hypocrisy of all. 5 weeks ago when this whole charade started, Adam Schiff says, we're going to need to hear from the whistleblower. He was talking about the whistleblower. And today he says, no, we don't need to. New York Times wrote a big piece. We don't need to hear from him. What has changed in the 5 weeks? What changed Adam Schiff's mind? Namely, we learned that Adam Schiff is the only person who knows who this guy is and that his staff met with him, and Adam Schiff was misleading us when he told us that he had no contact with the whistleblower. That's the only thing that changed. So you got 435 members of Congress, and only one of them knows who the identity of this individual is. And when you look at the whistleblower's complaint, he talks about the handful of other U.S. officials who he talked to who formed the basis of that complaint. And Adam Schiff and his staff are the only ones who know who that person is and who those handful of people are. We're not allowed to know. The American people are not allowed to know. We're not allowed to bring them in and question them. That is as crazy and hypocritical as I've ever seen. But that is exactly what is going on in this whole unfair process.
Got to take a break. We'll continue. Thank goodness for the Freedom Caucus. The Republicans, the conservatives with a backbone in Congress, because many of them don't have one, although they're all holding here. All right, as we continue, Jim Jordan, Congressman of Ohio, Matt Gaetz had to drop. Bring us back inside what is going on in this secret Soviet Union-style impeachment coup attempt. And you might want to comment on this, quote, resolution that is anything but fair. It is.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, you're right, Sean. It's not fair. It's trying to put a ribbon on an unfair process, a process that denies the minority rights, denies us the ability to see the transcript unless we make a special appointment. Even guys on the committee make a special appointment. You got to have a Democrat staffer looking over your shoulder as you're reading the transcript. Denies the president any type of due process. So this is as unfair as it gets. I think the American people instinctively understand that. American people get fairness. And then in this room, again, we talked about this a little bit ago, but the biggest concern was yesterday when Adam Schiff prevented the witness from answering our questions. And it was simple questions, basic questions about who did you talk to, the kind of questions that get asked in every single deposition ever done. But he prevented us from doing that. And, here Adam Schiff gets to call the witnesses, and then when he's in, only he gets asked the questions. Tell me how that's fair. And I think the American people, as I said, understand it and
so corrupt.
This whole charade.
Thank God there are guys like you there. You've been a rock star in this. We can't thank you enough. We'll get regular updates.
We appreciate what you do, Sean. Thank you.
All right, Congressman Jim